today's meeting of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues to order on June 26th. With that, Kennedy, if we have a quorum, if you could start roll call, and when your name is called, please state your name and where you're coming from today. Thank you.
Before I do roll call, I'm just going to double check and make sure we have everyone here. And we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Chair Damon?
Why, yes, this is Zach Damon coming to you from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washtenaw County.
Vice Chair Keeler?
This is Vice Chair Larry Keeler coming to you from Ann Arbor, Ward 5.
Commissioner Mozak?
Good afternoon. I'm Kathleen Mozak. I'm calling from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Commissioner Solomon?
Solomon, Commissioner, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Commissioner Hawkins? Commissioner Gossage?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Alex Gossage, Commissioner, calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Commissioner Ratcliffe? Commissioner Packard? Oh, looks like some people are having some connection issues, so
Yeah, I think
Can you hear me?
we're getting some trickle in here. Pardon me,
okay.
Kennedy.
So I'll go back again. Commissioner Ratcliffe? Commissioner Packard?
Yes, I am here calling from Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Chambers?
Commissioner Chambers calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Buis?
Buis calling from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And Commissioner Ankenbauer?
Hello, present, calling in from Milford, Michigan.
And Councilmember Gatsby Edwin is absent today, and that is our roll call. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Kennedy. Do appreciate it. Moving on to the next point in our agenda is public comment. For those that are on public comment, please note that you do have 3 minutes for speaking today. But before we get to that, I just also want to mention this meeting will be broadcast live on CTN Cable Channel 19 and at the ATT Channel 99 online at a2gov/watch CTN. And of course, for those of you that do have public comment, you can call in toll free at 877-853-5247 or 888-788-0099 and enter meeting ID 919-8673-1455. With that, Kennedy, do we have anyone on for public comment this afternoon?
This time, we did not have anyone on the call for public comment.
Thank you, Kennedy. Moving on to the approval of today's agenda. All of you should have received a copy of the meeting agenda prior to this meeting electronically. If you have not received that or do not have it, please feel free to let Kennedy or myself know at this time, and we can provide you with a copy of that. But with that, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve.
All right, Larry moves to approve. Is there a second?
This is Kathleen. I will second.
Thank you, Kathleen. All in favor of approving today's agenda for the Commission on Disability Issues, please unmute and say aye.
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 All right, thank you. The agenda is approved. Moving on to the next agenda item, we have the approval of the Commission on Disability Issues meeting minutes from May 15th, 2024. In the agenda, there should have been an electronic link linking to the meeting minutes. However, if you did not receive that or have not reviewed the meeting minutes from May 15th, please let us know and we can get you a copy at this time. However, if there are not any edits or amendments to the Commission on Disability Issues meeting minutes from May 15th, I would like to make a motion to approve the May 15 meeting minutes. I would like to move to approve. Is there a second?
I will
I'll
second.
second.
All right. I would say that for the record, we'll have. Go ahead. Pardon me. I would just like to state for the record that we'll have Commissioner Chambers be the second. Who is the third Commissioner Kennedy?
Didn't hear the third commissioner. It sounded like you had made a motion and then Commissioner Chambers had seconded that motion.
Okay, great.
It was me who
Right.
seconded it too, but that doesn't matter. It's been
Okay.
seconded.
Great. Thank you. Pardon me for the technical difficulties. All right. So Commissioner Chambers seconds. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes from May 15, please unmute and say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. The Commission on Disability issue meeting minutes are approved. Okay. Moving on to the fun part, the special presentation portion of our meeting today. I am very excited to welcome the Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy today. We have President and CEO Kathy Holman, as well as esteemed board member and community member, Mr. Kevin McMahon. Welcome both, and thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Kennedy, are you going to share our PowerPoint?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Commission for having us here today. We appreciate this opportunity to share all the wonderful things Washtenaw ACA does for the community. We're known as Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy. We're known as WACA, and we're known as ACA. So we also use piles of acronyms in our daily work. So I apologize if I go into an acronym and you don't understand it. Please feel free to stop me and ask me to explain it. I'll be happy to do that. We roll into them naturally, and sometimes it's hard for us not to do that. Also, I'm glad that Kevin McMahon, our vice chair, and somebody who's been around Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy longer than I have, he is here today too to help us talk about Washtenaw ACA. I'm going to apologize. My camera on my monitor is broken, so I'm looking down here, but I put it up here on a bunch of boxes, so I'm kind of looking at you all too, but I also have a very slow running monitor or internet system. So if I take my video off, I apologize in advance, but it usually is telling me that I have low bandwidth. So Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy is celebrating 75 years of developmental disability advocacy this year. We are the oldest advocacy organization in Washtenaw County, and we are very proud of it. We are advocates for people with developmental disabilities, and our new thing for those of us that go in and do advocacy is we call ourselves unapologetic advocates because we are there to help the folks we serve. Next slide, please. Can I move the slides, or do I have to have you do that, Kennedy?
Oh.
Thank you.
There we go. I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Our mission is full community inclusion for people with developmental disabilities. We often see people pushed into group homes, pushed into institutions. Yes, they're still around in Michigan, sadly. And that is never our mission. Our mission is for general education, life, everybody to be living in the community amongst everybody else in the community as is their right. Next slide, please. So this all started with a group of parents that their children back then were always institutionalized automatically. And they really started looking for soap and shampoo and for better treatment for their children in the Coldwater Institute. It was called the Children with More Serious Handicaps, so terminology we don't use anymore. And in 1960, there were 2,900 residents. And you could be placed in this institution if you just had epilepsy. I worked with a gentleman who always needed support because he was brought up in the institution and had institutional behavior, but he could read, he could write, he could get himself to a lawyer and get himself help, but he didn't have those social skills to be able to be unsupported in the community. So in the 1970s and 80s, we see that starting to change and people keeping their children home when they're born with disabilities, but they still couldn't go to school. And then Coldwater eventually closed in 1992 with that big push to close institutions in the state of Michigan. And now it's a jail. So it kind of seems fitting because it really was a jail for people with disabilities way back when. Next slide, please. So we help people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This is the Michigan legal terminology of what an intellectual developmental disability means. And we always call it IDD. And so you have a condition that began before the age of 22. It's likely to continue indefinitely, and it will affect you in 3 or more of the following major areas of activity. And this is what we look at for the definition of a developmental disability, and we'll talk more about that later. Next slide, please. So who do we work with? We work with people. We don't work with autism. We don't work with Down syndrome. We work with people who have these, I'm going to call them medical labels in society, but we always have a people first attitude. Next slide, please. And so these are the edicts that drive our work. Whenever we meet somebody, we presume competence. It's so often that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are infantilized, and that's one thing we fight really hard against. So we always presume competence, that that person can let us know, even if they're nonverbal, what they like, what they don't like, what they want, and what they don't want. When we talk about people with IDD, this is the last civil rights fight in society right now. People with IDD are given to guardians. Guardians exchange them like cattle. That's the only way I can think of to put it. They're shuffled to homes they don't want to live in. They have no choices in their lives once they get a guardian. The guardian has legal choice for them. And they don't have, and this is something really important too, the dignity to fail. You and I fail on a daily basis, and I think we learn more when we fail. So one of the things that we really strive for too is, why can't somebody fail and make a mistake? And the one thing that we really say is, nothing about me without me. We don't make decisions for people with IDD. We support them in their decision making. Next slide, please. So what do? We do complex navigation advocacy. People with intellectual and developmental disabilities have to hit all these different government systems to get the support they need in society. So it's the Social Security system, which has its own acronyms, Department of Health and Human Services, which have its own acronyms, Medicaid, Medicare, Michigan Rehabilitation Services, community mental health, education from age birth to 26, and special needs trust management. Next slide, please. So when we talk about Social Security, we have the WIPA, which is the Work Incentive Planning and Assistance Program. It's a grant from Social Security. We're cleared by Social Security. We had to go through an intensive clearing to work for them. We have most of the southern portion of Michigan for our WIPA grant. And we help people who have a developmental disability or a disability who are working or want to work. If I have SSI, or if I have a supplemental security income, or I have Social Security disability income, there's 2 different rules that apply for work incentives for both of those. And so we help people walk through those systems to make sure that if they don't want to lose their benefits, they keep their benefits, to make sure if they want to work their way off, what's going to happen to them and how could they get back on if something happens. All those rules in Social Security. We know the program, and we've been tested and trained by Social Security. We work with the program's operation manual, which is Social Security's book of policy. I can't even imagine how long it is. Social Security is not known for their brevity. They did a paper reduction memo to us one time, and it was 14 pages long, which I thought was really funny. But we do Social Security work, and we know Social Security work. We've been doing WIPA program for at least 15 years. Next slide, please. We have a grant through Michigan Alliance for Families. Michigan Alliance for Families allows us to do education advocacy, and new this year, we're doing special education advocacy for foster care kids. So foster care kids are shuffled around. Nobody's keeping real good tabs sometimes on what's going on with them in school. So we come in and help when a child needs extra help in special education in the school district. That's been new for us this year. And then we help folks from 0 to 26 in all of the Washtenaw County schools and Lenawee County schools. Next slide, please. And then we do community mental health advocacy. So once you turn 18 and your parents are no longer legally responsible for you and you want to live on your own, you want to live out in the community, or you're going to stay at home and your parents just need that additional support, community mental advocacy is your door to getting supports paid for through your Medicaid program. So we come into community mental health and do some advocacy for you, how the program works, how you should set up your plan of support through them, and what laws protect you to getting those supports that you need. As we know, there's a direct care worker crisis right now. We are in dire need of direct care workers because of the low pay that they receive, which is really tough. We are constantly talking to the state about that issue, and we've got some other things in the works too. Next slide. And then we do the National Core Indicators surveys. This is through Wayne State University, the DDI department, which is the Developmental Disabilities, I'm not going to remember, Institute, terrible name for that. And this is the only time that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities who get community mental health services are interviewed face-to-face to see how their services are. We ask them things like, do you have a key to your house? When people come in, do they knock on the door? Can you eat what you want? Can you go out when you want? Is there transportation available to you? Do people explain things to you? Do you have choices in your life? This is the only survey out there, and this is the only time we're asking these questions. It's a very important survey. I would say we, but my office manager, Beth, did 83 of these interviews this year. It was really great. Next slide, please. We do fee-for-service education advocacy. We do it on a sliding scale basis. We get 10 months or 30 hours. That's going to change a little bit next year. But for folks that need that help with IEPs that don't qualify through the Michigan Alliance for Families grant, we do fee-for-service for them. Next slide, please. The other programs that we do is special needs trust management. We do an education learning series online. So far this year, we've done My Able and we've done financial planning, special needs financial planning, which is there's a very special designation for financial planners to help folks who are trying to plan a life for their child when they're gone. That member is Deb Purcell, and she's on our board, and she did a wonderful education series for us. And in the fall, we're talking about doing Social Security, community and mental health benefits. And I think that's going to be a two-parter because those are pretty involved, and possibly community mental health appeals process. This is the way I'm going to put it. If something goes wrong at community mental health. And we do all kinds of referrals to different programs around the county. We work with the University of Michigan. We work with a few doctors over there who refer folks to us, and we refer folks over to them. I know if you know, there's a new IDD clinic in Dexter that a young doctor has opened up, which is really great because our folks really have a hard time finding primary care doctors. And then we do state, county, city advocacy. Next slide, please. And one of our state and local advocacy things that we have done for the last 9 years, this is a 9-year lawsuit, and it's the Wasco versus Washtenaw County Community Mental Health. In 2015, Washtenaw County Community Mental Health was in a big deficit, and they sent everybody with self-determination, using the HAB waiver and using CLS, a letter that said instead of budgeting your budget, line item budgeting it, you get $13.88 an hour for CLS, and that's an all-inclusive rate. So from that $13.88, you have to pay your taxes, your workman's comp, anything else that you want to do out of that money. It just didn't work. People lost staffing. People couldn't get out of their homes anymore. So we unfortunately, we fortunately signed on as a plaintiff to this lawsuit so that we would have membership standing in this. And we last summer, we mediated all summer and we settled with the state of Michigan. And the settlement, which is public for the state of Michigan, says that if you have self-determination, CLU, CLF, and are on HAB waiver, the rate is $31 an hour. The state of Michigan settled with us. We also changed policy across the state on administrative law judge hearings on self-determination rights. There's some other stuff. The settlement is now, we want the court to approve it. That way it's enforceable. So we have a court date on September 23rd on this issue. And we are on our 5th judge. There's about 500,000 documents in discovery, and we've done 20 depositions in this case. It's a huge case. It's been recognized across the country. And the new 504 rules that finally came out from the federal government cited this case as a reason that people, if they're stuck in their homes, it's no different than being stuck in an institution. So we've made federal news with this case. It's really a big one. We are fortunate that all of the lawyers in this are from Disability Rights Michigan, so there's been no legal fees for anybody. And then there's a brilliant lawyer from National Center for Law and Economic Justice out of New York that's been the lead on this case, and he's just been amazing, and he's done the whole case for free as well. It's about $5.5 million in legal fees right now. Next case. Next slide, please. And on a happy note, because I always love to end on a happy note, and Kevin will be happy to see this. We had this young couple that wanted to get married. And if you know anything about Social Security benefits, you could lose all of your benefits if you get married, depending on who you marry. And this young couple was one of those. They had to wait a certain amount of time till they could get married so we can make sure that their benefits were secure. But John and Erin got married on July 4th, 2 years ago, Kevin? Put the heads up, because Erin is Kevin's daughter.
It's going on 3 years.
3 years ago.
July 4th.
In the middle of COVID, it was
We pulled it off.
It was a beautiful wedding. It was one of the best weddings I've ever been to, and they're still very happily married.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. And the one thing I didn't put up here, and it's been a busy week, and I apologize, is our 75th anniversary celebration. On October 12th this year at the U of M golf course, we will be celebrating Washington Association for Community Advocacy's 75 years of service to the community. We will have I can put something in you can look at our website, www.Washingtonassociationforcommunityadvocacy.com, and there's more information there about our anniversary celebration if you'd like to join us. Do you have any questions?
Outstanding. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you so much to Kevin. Thank you so much for WACA for all of the work that you've done, not just recently that you spoke of, but for the last 75 years. And how exciting for that wonderful celebration in October. I do want to limit it to a couple of questions from commissioners, but if there are questions from commissioners to Kathy or to Kevin regarding the WACA presentation, please raise your hand and Kennedy will call on you.
Boy, that means we have
Commissioner
100%
Gossage.
buy-in.
Oh,
No, Alex has got his hand raised. I can see him.
Hi,
Commissioner
Kathy.
Gossage.
Thank you. Hi, Kathy. Great presentation. Thank you for coming today. I think it's been too long since we've been able to see ACA here. Is there anything that this body can do that you think really can assist ACA and the folks that you're working with on a regular basis?
Wow, that's such a great question. Yeah, always listening and what are the issues? I think one of our biggest issues right now, especially in that Ann Arbor area, is housing for people with everybody in general, but especially housing for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. One of the things that we find is if we can get housing close to a campus, we can get more direct support staff, because we had a gentleman that was attending University of Michigan and had 24/7 support. And had 37 people he turned away because the college kids will work if it's really close to campus. And we're finding that folks with those medical degrees coming up or trying in the sciences are the folks that we find that we'll find staff from. So if the Ann Arbor Housing Commission would ever listen and support developmental housing close to campus, it would be really awesome. The transportation's there. you can get around there, and you can get the supports to be out in your community there.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions for Kathy or Kevin? Commissioner Solomon?
It just brings up an issue, the most recent remark about makes me wonder why that isn't written into some of these new high-rise contracts, which have been sold to the community as a certain amount of accessible housing. And from what I'm hearing, that's just not happening. And if that's correct, I think there ought to be some accountability. I just want to be clear, make sure that I'm clear on the facts based on what was just said.
Yeah, well, what we find with new housing is they say it's low income. It's the mean average of the income in the community, which is about $85,000 a year. An average SSDI check is about $1,200, and most you're going to get on SSI, supplemental security income, is $941 a month this year. So these are folks that can't afford $85,000 rent payments, within that income level. It's just not going to happen. And then that accessibility is a huge issue. If you can find an accessible apartment, you hold on to it for dear life, because if you get out of it, you're not going to find another one.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up because this mass of development that has been growing in our community in the last decade has been sold to the community partly as affordable housing. And again, is this a moment where we call our elected officials to task? Because that sure doesn't sound affordable to me, and it sure doesn't sound inclusive to me. Is this an opportunity to get involved with our new disability access officer? But this is a real issue that you're highlighting, that I feel it's kind of incumbent on us to at least poke around a little more.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Just
Commissioner
a couple more
Mozak?
questions. Yep, thank you.
Yes, hi. You have shared so much wonderful information today. I'm wondering if your slides will be shareable with us?
Sure, absolutely. I'll send them to Kennedy. Is that okay, Kennedy? Or Kennedy already has them, actually.
Kennedy, will you share them with us then?
Yeah,
I
if you
will.
could. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. If you could send them to the full commission, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chambers?
Yeah, thank you so much for this presentation. It seems like you guys are doing really important and amazing work, and I also, want to support in any way that I can. One question I had was about you mentioned your education advocacy services, which is amazing. And I know you said you were kind of doing that for students with IEPs, and I was wondering if you have, or if you've considered expanding those services to the college level, because I think that if you haven't already, they would be very useful in that setting, as well as a person with a disability who is now in my second degree at the University of Michigan, especially. I think that could be something that would be very needed, because it's very difficult to get access to the accommodations that you need. And I think that it would probably be even more difficult for someone who's less verbal or communicates in a different way. So I was just wondering if you've ever considered expanding those services to the college level as well.
So we do. There are some things on here that I didn't put on that we do. We've worked in the court system, and we do work at University of Michigan. They aren't the best about disability advocacy and access. We had the gentleman that we said with all the that had all the support staff come in. He was only allowed to have a second floor room, and he was a wheelchair user. So every time the fire alarm went off, the police and fire had to be called to get him down the steps, whether it was a real fire or not. And in a dorm, how many times that goes off. We finally got him into a first floor room, but we also were fighting for some access to accommodations for a class, because he had become very sick, and it was very difficult. We took it all the way up to the president of the university, who said, we kind of let our own professors do whatever they should do. And I don't think that's the right attitude. He was so sick, and he was forced to take a final being very sick instead of being allowed to take it a few days before because he had to have a procedure that made him very sick. So we absolutely will come in and help out with University of Michigan. You also have somebody over there called Vincent Pinty. He's an amazing advocate. He's in law school over there now, and he's been a student advocate for disability rights as well. So if you can look him up on campus too, he's somebody to meet and talk to.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And if you don't mind, if you could mention again the date of that 75th anniversary, that would be great.
I certainly will. We're October 12th at 6 o'clock. We have DJ Jazzy Mintz. She works for the Lions and she's done some work over at the Little Caesars Pizza Hockey Arena, as we call it. She's going to be fabulous that night. We are still looking for a guest speaker, but we'll have somebody interesting, I'm sure. And we're right across from the stadium because our saying is we've helped enough people to overflow that stadium, which is really impressive after 75 years. So we're right at the golf course there on October 12th at 6 p.m.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kathy, to you, all the staff of the Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy, all the board members, Mr. Kevin McMahon, thank you very much. Congratulations to your daughter, Erin, on a great wedding anniversary. And hopefully all of us commissioners can support you and make it out to that wonderful event that'll be in October at the Michigan Golf Course. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us here today. We appreciate it. And I'm going to turn off my video, but it's not because I'm not still here. I just don't want my internet to fade.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our next presentation, we have the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled with Jackie Best. Jackie?
Actually, it's me today, Zach.
Oh, shoot. Hey, Katie, how are you? My mistake.
No problem. Happy to be here anyway. I'm glad that Jackie has been able to come a couple times and join you guys as well. That's been really wonderful when I've needed a break sometimes. So happy that that's been happening. And I also, before I get started with my regular announcements, really wanted to say thank you to the commission for joining us at Visions 2024 on June 5th. It was an extremely successful event and we really appreciated your help and everything that you did to make it as such. Your booth was a wonderful attraction and I know that I got to say hi to a lot of you, but it's a very busy day for me. So if I missed any of you the day of, I apologize and I hope that I'm able to catch you all next year and that we'll see you then. So thank you very much for me and the Ann Arbor District Library and the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled for your support and presence there. We appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you to the commissioners that came. Pardon me.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all the support and all the commissioners that came out. It really meant a lot to see a lot of you come by, to see a lot of you there at the table. Thank you. That was it.
Agreed. Great. Okay, so on with my regularly scheduled announcements. We've got a couple of upcoming events happening at the library. We have our Ann Arbor Bicentennial display. We've been celebrating the bicentennial. There's a lot of stuff about it on our website. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, please do. It's really cool. There's some awesome interviews from some historical folks in town. But this event is a What Do You Love About Ann Arbor event. So it's on Saturday, June 29th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Mallets Creek branch. And we are going to be building a display and the library needs your help. So come celebrate Ann Arbor's bicentennial by sharing what you love most about the city. You can drop in and write a list, draw a picture, or tell a story. The possibilities are endless. We'll provide some prompts and the writing and drawing utensils, and when you're finished, you can give it to us for the display, or you can choose to take it home. We also have a grown-up show and tell happening on Friday, July 12th from 6 to 7 p.m. at our Pittsfield branch. Show and tell isn't just for kids. Bring your latest craft, a favorite heirloom, or some other treasure and show it off. You don't need to bring something to attend, but if you plan to show something, please arrive 15 minutes early to register at the door. And we also have a meditation and mindfulness event coming up, Practicing Gratitude with Amy Tarrant on Thursday, July 5th from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. at our Traverwood branch. Practicing meditation and mindfulness can help the body and the brain in many ways. The research shows that meditation has been proven to decrease depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, and help with emotion regulation, concentration, focus, and memory. Meditation can also help improve blood pressure, stomach problems, pain management, and overall well-being. Expressing gratitude has been researched for a long time, and it continues to reveal that practicing gratitude can lead to experiencing more happiness in all facets of life. In this 75-minute class, you will have the opportunity to learn about what it means and how to practice gratitude. Now I'm going to talk about materials, and as usual, WLBPD patrons can order digital cartridges and other materials by calling us at 734-327-4224, or you can email us at WLBPD@aadl.org. We're happy to help folks sign up for the Braille and audio reading service, BARD, which is our awesome app where you can download your own books. You can visit nlsbard.loc.gov or call us and we will help with the application. And just a couple of highlighted books that you can find on BARD that have been added recently. Fluke, Chance, Chaos, and Why Everything We Do Matters by Brian Klaas. A social scientist dispels people's tidy versions of reality and delves deeply into the theories of random chance and chaos to demonstrate that the world really works through random events that can alter the trajectory of our lives. And The Ultimate Wildlife Habitat Garden, Attract and Support Birds, Bees, and Butterflies by Stacy Tornio. In The Ultimate Wildlife Habitat Garden, Stacy Tornio makes it easy to attract birds, bees, and butterflies to your home garden by sharing details about which plants attract specific creatures. Entice birds with black-eyed Susans, attract bumblebees by planting bee balm, and more. Choose from 10 garden plans, including a hummingbird garden, a birdseed garden, and options that are low maintenance and drought resistant. You also get advice on finding the right feeder, avoiding pesticides, and choosing native plants. This guide will enable you to create the earth-friendly garden of your dreams. And that is everything that I have for you all today. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or anything for me?
I don't have anything at this time. I hope that individuals can check out all the wonderful things that the Washtenaw Library for the blind and print disabled has to offer, and check out that bicentennial stuff. Amazing. Amazing.
It's
Absolutely.
really, really cool stuff, and there's a ton of it, and we're only about halfway through the celebration.
There we go.
I do see a hand raised, but I don't see a name associated.
Yeah, I think it's Commissioner
Larry.
Packard.
Oh, Packard. Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
The book Practicing Gratitude, I always like to make sure I make note of it when you're running through. What was that one? That was
That's actually an
okay.
event.
The event. Okay.
That's an
Like
event
to
that's
hear.
happening at the library, and that's going to be on Thursday, the 25th at 6 p.m. at the Traverwood branch.
Okay. Thank you very much for promoting it even more. Grateful for it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And by the way, I just wanted to say how grateful I know all of us were at the event where we all came together at the library, Visions, and it was really a great chance to unite services from all over the state and keep everybody working right there in one place together and hear what the needs are and requests are from so many people. I wish we had events like that more, but we really appreciate it. Thank you. It was great seeing you all.
It was great seeing you too, and thanks for saying that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I look forward to it every year.
Thanks, Larry. We do too.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Katie, and thank you to everyone at the library for all the work that you do. And yeah, for any community members that want to visit the downtown library, please feel free. All right. Wonderful. Next, we're moving on to our next presentation with Disability Network of Washtenaw, Monroe, and Livingston with Andrea Henry. Andrea, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just have one quick update that you have heard before, but do want to take the chance to publicize it yet again and let folks know that we are planning a big celebration in honor of the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act on Friday, July 26th at our Ann Arbor location from 3 to 7 p.m. Join us for free food and drinks, keynote speakers, a tie-dye station, raffle items, an art exhibition, crafts, a slime station, adaptive sports, community information tables, prizes, and a lot more. It is open house style, so feel free to join us anytime between 3 and 7. Stay as much as you can and come join us as we celebrate this important piece of legislation. So that is all I have today for the commission, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to remind folks one more time that is happening next month on Friday, July 26th from 3 to 7 at the Ann Arbor location.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Commissioner Mozak.
Should be there.
Yes, hi, this is Kathleen. I just have a question. I know that parking can be really difficult. Are there any businesses in the area that are partnering with you that will allow parking on their lots? Do you know?
I do not know. I don't know. There might be somebody on site. Alex, I don't know if you have any information you can shed a light on or.
Yeah, this is Alex. Thanks for the question, Kathleen. We will be talking with some of our local businesses again to see if we can't get some assistance with parking. I know the business that's just around the corner, or that's just on the other side of us, of Federal Mogul, is oftentimes has let us park there and did in the past as well. Thankfully, our street is no longer under construction, so that should help significantly this year. There is also a large building going up across the street, Sartorius, and we may be asking them as well, and that would probably be the most convenient one. So it is top of mind, and we'll definitely make sure to let folks know as we have those options available.
Thank you. One follow-up question. Do you know, is there on-street parking at all ever?
Yes, so that should not be a problem. We've done on-street parking as well in the past, and I would say right now it's a pretty typical thing on our circle where maybe it hasn't been in the past. So that should not be an issue if and an option for folks.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for asking.
All right. Any other questions for Disability Network? I hope to see us all there, by the way, at the event. I mean, no pressure, but super excited for that event on July 26th. You know, I was there last year and the year prior, and it's always an amazing event. And you know, it's wonderful to network with many other advocates and great organizations. But then also, it's an important day. So hopefully we can all make it out there. All right. If there's nothing else for Disability Network, I'm going to move on to the Partners in Access report with Commissioner Larry Keeler.
We had a long meeting because our chair showed up as we were about ready to adjourn, but he had a lot of things. So we had Commissioner Packard and Commissioner Radcliffe, and later on our chair attended, and we discussed the Jefferson parking situation, and I had to I'm still not clear. I had to ask about the pictures that were sent because obviously I don't see them, and I had to ask about the pictures, and it sounds like there's still problems that need to be addressed down there. And there was a lot of questions about discussing things for ATA, like we discussed bus announcements, the timing of bus announcements, how many bus announcements there should be. We discussed what's happening to the bus stops. A lot of the sheltered bus stops are disappearing, and after we talked about that, the next day, one of my friends was going by and says, "Oh, the bus stop out by Arbor Farms is gone too now." So we're having a bunch of disappearing bus stops, and I advised that we might want to take that up with either the local advisory committee, which I'm soon to be part of, I hope. I did fill out a reapplication for that, and also they could get onto public comment there, or the AATA board public comment there. They could register for that to ask about some of that stuff. And one of the things that I certainly agreed with everybody else is sometimes the call outs on the bus are, even if it's being called out, they're not loud enough. Sometimes there's different volumes. Sometimes they'll blast you, and sometimes you can't hardly hear them. And so we had quite a bit of discussion on that. And then we started talking when Commissioner Damon came in. Or Chairman Damon. We started discussing the Michigan Theater, Michigan State Theater, possibly the use of Patriot Tech to get it tested out. And then, and we were talking about, and which I'm sure our chair will have more to say about, ADA film series. And they wanted to, we're talking about mapping using Destination Ann Arbor that was being worked on. And we were talking about Commissioner Achenbach, Sam, looking into some further development with that project because he was very interested in that. And then we wanted to develop a resource guide and a newsletter. And we're talking about maybe getting an intern to help with policy. And that was about it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Larry. I mean, a lot covered there at the Partners and Access Subcommittee, and thank you for that report. Looks like we have a question.
Actually, it's
Commissioner
not.
Mosek?
Yes, it's not a question. It's actually a comment for the PIA and in general with regards to AATA. So the disappearing bus stops are because they're doing upgrades. So the bus stops it's not the disappearing bus stops, but the disappearing shelters. So I don't know if you noticed the shelter on Washtenaw that's near Whole Foods was gone down for a few weeks. It's that they're upgrading equipment, I believe. And so they are being replaced, but I don't know if anybody else has had repairs done on their homes, but just because something goes out one day doesn't mean it's going in the same day. You know what I mean? It has to be a coordinated effort. So I'm thinking that is probably what's happening in other areas, that they're upgrading the shelters. I do not believe that they are being removed. The second thing that I have is in regards to announcements and things like that. Please contact the RIDE.org. You can also use their phone number. All of that is also available on the website. And you can also contact Jeff Pfeiffer, who is the manager of Public Affairs and Engagement. He might be able to help with some of the issues that you are discussing if you are thinking about a collaboration.
Question real quick. I didn't get to my phone in time to raise my hand, but question, that Jeff Viper, like is in the snake, or is that how it's spelled?
Pfeiffer, Pfeiffer, and I'm not going to give you information here online, but I'd be happy to share it with you offline.
No, that's good. I can do that. I just wanted to know his last name, so I was looking who I was asking for, and it sounded like you said Viper, but
Viper
okay.
with a V.
And that also explains why we're seeing when they take the bus stops, when they've been taking the bus stops down, they've been putting temporary bus stop signs up. That would explain that if they're redoing it, they're putting up temporary bus stop signs apparently.
I thought you
Okay.
were talking about the shelters that are.
There's the shelters, yes, they're putting up when they take down the shelter.
Yes.
For some reason, they're putting up a temporary. It's a temporary. It says
A
it's
lot
a
of
temporary
times-
stop.
A lot of times in the shelters, and you probably wouldn't know this, I apologize, but a lot of times in the shelter, there's additional information in the shelter. So they're probably trying to accommodate that as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you
Actually, I do know that because I've seen people read the information. So.
And if you have, and I encourage the public and anyone on this call that if you have questions, contact the RIDE.org directly. You can also make a comment. There are comment forms available, or you can dial their number directly and ask to speak to somebody in customer service, and they can help you with these issues.
Thank you, Commissioner Mozak. I do appreciate it. And thank you to Larry as well for the Partners in Access Subcommittee report. If there are not any more business on Partners in Access, I can move on to the Community Engagement report with Commissioner Rachel Hawkins.
Okay, thank you. So I had actually, I had been on here, but not as a panelist. So I had put my information in the box. So I did have an update from Melissa Bondi about Ann Arbor Inclusive. I had included, I don't know if Kennedy can still see that, the link for the current episode, which from the June 13th show with guest Tracy Bird. And then they'll be currently in process of the July show, which will feature the Kirk Gibson Foundation for Parkinson's. So more to come on that. And let me know if you'd like me to resend that, Kennedy, if that hadn't come through in the Q&A box when I was not a panelist.
Yeah, if you could actually email it in the meeting agenda that went out this week for our meeting today. If everyone has it in there, that'd be great.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you to everyone at the Community Television Network of Ann Arbor for the work that they do with Ann Arbor Inclusive. I know the commission is very proud to be a part of that show, as well as collaborating with the Disability Network on that as well. Next, we have recruiting activity with Larry Keeler. Commissioner Keeler?
Well, we have three potential candidates applications that had been sent in that we're going to have to address this summer. But other than that, I think we're good. I haven't really talked to anybody. We passed out information, earlier this month at Visions, and I don't know how many of those three have come from Visions, but we do have three applications that we probably should look at this summer, and we have a position to fill. So
Thank you, Larry. And I have seen those applications, by the way, and I will be following up with yourself and others to schedule that process after our summer recess. So thank you. Okay. Well, thank you. On that, Commissioner Keeler, I just wanted to double check, or Kennedy, maybe we currently only have one seat open. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I heard.
All righty. Larry, don't go anywhere because we have the Transportation Commission update with yourself.
Oh, that's a short update. Not a quorum. We didn't have. They decided not to have a meeting. There was no quorum, And some of the business they wanted to get to, they wanted to have a quorum because we had a lot of things going on in town. I know that it's definitely orange barrel season, so wherever you go, you might find traffic issues. Of course, that's pretty much normal for Ann Arbor, but it's we got a lot of construction going on, and we'll get more about that next month. And so, of course, we won't get you won't hear from us till September, but you can watch the meetings third Wednesday of the next 2 months at 7 p.m. on Community 16 or CTN Community Access.
All
And
right.
that's it.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Keeler. Definitely appreciate all your work on there. Next, we have the University of Michigan Council for Disability Concerns meeting update with Commissioner Solomon. Matthew?
Hi, regrettably, I was traveling on the day of the CFDC meeting, so was unable to attend and do not have a report at this time.
Thank you. No problem, Matthew. And thank you to the U of M Council for Disability Concerns for all of their work. I know that they're doing a lot of great work, and I hope to see them at the ADA celebration on July 26th. But thank you, Matthew. All right. Moving on, we have the Organizational Equity Report with Tracy Bird. Tracy?
Hello, all. I actually don't really have anything to report. I think I'm frozen. Okay, I don't really have anything to report, but other than if you are planning on attending the City Council meeting on July 15th and celebration of the Disability Pride Proclamation, as well as the small art exhibit that we're having at City Hall, if you could just email me your name and phonetically spelled out pronunciation of your name. So we want to ensure that the mayor knows how to pronounce everyone's name for that. And then I did have a quick question for Disability Network. Is it okay if we use your link for your celebration to put on the city's website, if we're permitted to do so?
Yeah, that should not be a problem,
Or
Tracy.
actually, we would put it on our Office of Organizational Equity site, as well as with Kodai's permission on your site.
No,
Yeah,
no problem
yeah.
from our end. This is
Okay.
Al.
Yeah,
No problem.
This is Chair Damon. That's outstanding. As far as Disability Network, Alex, that's all you. But as far as our Kodai page, have no problem with that. You know, Disability Network is a great partner, and we want to be able to get as many people as possible out there for that celebration. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And I do want to say very quickly too, I said I had no report, now I have a couple things. If you all are interested, something was passed along to me, and I believed I passed along last week for a accessible housing learning series through Detroit Disability Power. They have 3 sessions. There was one last Friday, the second one is this Friday, and then they have 2 in July. And it was very informative presentation. Talked about, if you're familiar with the Kelsey Group, they're the ones doing the study for accessible housing and doing all of the accessible checks in the city of Detroit. But it was a fantastic presentation. I also did meet with Chad from Destination Ann Arbor, and so the city will be partnering with them on their accessibility checks throughout the city. And I am very happy, just right before the meeting, I had asked him, because for the businesses that are going to be participating with those checks, they're providing training, and I asked if there would be any disability awareness training to the general public or just those businesses. So he checked with Wheel the World, and they gave him an additional, I think 100, he said, admissions. So that means that we'll have a little bit more accessibility training coming soon. I don't know when, so I don't want to report on that, but it will be coming.
Great, that's good news. I mean, thank you, Tracy, for all of your work. as the city ADA accessibility coordinator within the Office of Organizational Equity. I mean, a lot of great work being done there. And I'm really glad to hear that you were able to attend the housing workshop with Detroit Disability Power. I mean, great neighbors there. They're doing great work all the way across our state. And yeah, glad you were able to connect with Chad and everybody at Destination Ann Arbor. A lot of good work there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tracy, do we
Yes.
have an idea yet of around what time, if there's a time range that the proclamation will be in on that day? Because I would very much like to be there, but I may have to move some patient meetings around. So I just wanted to know if there was like, even if it was like an hour or two range to work
Yes.
I
with.
can.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I
Tracy.
was, yeah, I
I'd
was gonna
seen
say
the
city
email.
count. Yeah,
But-
meetings start at 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And they are the proclamations are read first. So I would say, you know, I would actually like to have a photo opportunity for everyone who's attending. So, you know, especially maybe in front of the artwork with the artist's permission, of course. You know, to be able to actually put out on Ann Arbor's. Actually, I had spoken with our communications person, and she's like, I want photos so we can put it on the city's website to promote disability pride.
Sure.
So maybe if you're there by 15, if you're able to, about 15 to 7, so we can, you know, get some pictures in.
Okay, that'll work perfectly. Thank you so much.
Oh,
You're
good.
very welcome.
Then we
Thank
can
you.
catch the bus back. Since it's the first one, if we need to go, we can catch the bus back.
You got that right.
Well, I know sometimes that when you get into city council meetings, you might risk not being able to catch the bus back because they can go for a long time. So I'm glad proclamations are first.
Absolutely. And I want to give a big shout out to Detroit Disability Power for, you know, all their work on that proclamation, not only getting that approved here with the city of Ann Arbor, but, you know, across the state and many other different cities as well. But super excited to attend that proclamation ceremony on July 15th. Yes, please be there about 15 to 7, and then everything should start at 7 o'clock on the hour. Thank you. All right. Next, I'm going to move on to the city personnel report with Kennedy.
Hi, thank you, Zach. I do not have an update at this time, but as always, if anyone needs anything, please reach out. I'm here to help. And if there are any like additional projects or assistance on my end that I could help with as well, posting anything or sending anything out, or you know, making flyers or things like that, I'm happy to help for these upcoming events.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, sorry about that. My computer was running slowly and I could not unmute. But thank you, Kennedy. Really appreciate all of your work there. Absolutely. Just wanted to move on to the chair report here. You know, as some had mentioned, there was a couple of events. I'll just reiterate the ADA celebration July 26th at Disability Network and the Washington office. Please mark your calendar. I hope all of us and many of us in the community can attend that. Also, again, the Disability Pride Month proclamation, very excited. Hopefully we can all be there for that to show support. Hopefully say a few good words, not only for our great city and for Detroit Disability Power, but also for Disability Pride and what's going on in our community. And then finally, there are some events that are pretty exciting coming up as well. So recently I just found out about the University of Michigan Adaptive Track and Field meet that's going on this Saturday. It's going to be kicking off, and so very excited about this. So that's going to be taking place at the Varsity Track and Field facility located at 2540 South State Street in Ann Arbor. This is very exciting because they're going to host 95 athletes representing 11 different colleges from across the United States. Now, this event not only supports the University of Michigan Adaptive Track and Field team, but also this meet serves as a crucial kind of last chance for many adaptive athletes to qualify for the United States Paralympic trials and to aim for a spot in the 2024 Paralympic Games. So I really encourage all of us to, if we can make it out just for an hour or two, to show support to our great athletes from around the United States, but also right here in our great town of Ann Arbor, and root on our Wolverines. That would be amazing. Super exciting, and I hope to make that to make that event as well. And just for all those parents out there, by the way, there will be a kids zone with fun sports activities going on from 1:30 to 3:30 there. So it is a family friendly event for all of our viewers and all of our parents out there. But again, go blue, and good luck to all of our athletes. Go for gold. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very exciting. Also, there's some other events going on as well. The National Council on Disability is hosting a meeting coming up tomorrow, and they are open to individuals having public comment. So I did send emails about that as well. I hope if any of us have time, we can join that to know what is going on nationally with our policy. And also they're going to be just highlighting some great accomplishments throughout the year within the disability community nationwide. So congratulations to the National Council on Disabilities for all the work that they're doing policy-wise and ensuring that the ADA continues to stay strong and hold strong. Absolutely. Lastly, I wanted to point out that we were given a invitation to be a part of the James T. Newbacher Award Committee. We were given this invitation from the University of Michigan Council for Disability Concerns co-chair, and they were inviting a member from the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues to join the award selection committee. Award committee members will attend and participate in approximately 6 meetings scheduled over late July, August, and early September. You'll also participate in bias training, and you're going to use a rubric system to sort of assess nominations and discuss nominations with sort of the goals and listings and sharing the perspectives to ultimately choose the award winner who will reflect the reality of disability advocacy. Now, for those of you that don't know what the James T. Newbacher Award is, it is a legacy award given out to University of Michigan alumni, and it's quite a prestigious award. And I hope that all of us can have an opportunity to be a part of this. So it's presented to a faculty member, staff member, or student or alum from the university for significant achievement in a few areas. So empowering people with disabilities, advocating or advancing disability rights or disability justice, and also increasing the accessibility of programs and services to promote disability inclusion. So it's really, really a great award. I encourage us to follow up on that, to join that committee. And if there are any other questions, you can reach out to the Council for Disability Concerns for more information. But as of right now, you guys, that is it for my chair report. So thank you very much. All right. Moving on. We do not have Council Ghazi Edwin with us, but she did send her notes. So I don't know if any of you saw all of those notes, but there was, a lot of good work being done. I know she's still working on snow removal and things of that sort. And there's some other things that I really didn't get confirmation on announcing yet, but I know that she's working very, very hard behind the scenes for us in terms of, possible resources for the commission. So I'm excited about that as well. And then also, she did mention the proclamation as well, which Detroit Disability Power worked with to get across cities across the state of Michigan. So thank you again to Detroit Disability Power, to Councilmember Edwin, for all her support. With that, I am so sorry, but I'm graciously going to exit the meeting because I do have another prior engagement that I have to get to. So at this point, moving on to the next point of the agenda, when we go to old business, we're going to have Vice Chairman Keeler run the meeting for the rest of the evening. But thank you all for your time and your attendance, and also all of you commissioners for all of your work and support. And I will see all of you back when we convene after our summer recess in the fall. And if I don't speak with any of you, happy Independence Day. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in September. Thank you, everyone.
So is that where we're at, old business now?
We are at
Oh.
old business.
All right, would there be any old business?
We have no old business at this time. Next is new business.
Yeah, I figured that. So would there be any new business?
With any commissioner? Okay, Commissioner Packard?
Yeah, since we're convening now until we reconvene after the break, I just thought I'd just throw out an idea to mull over, I suppose. You know, a lot of us joined together at Visions, and I don't know if it's something to consider maybe for future meetings, maybe having some place like that central at the library as an option for us to have an option to meet together. Obviously not a requirement for meetings, if that was something to think about moving forward. You know, to here we are in Zoom, but you know, it's also nice to have an idea for us to be together in person, whoever's accessible and able to, for future meetings. I thought I'd just throw that out there as something to think about. Like,
Better kids like meet and have a party, have a food.
There you go, or at a restaurant that works. You know, the location is definitely would be open to where we would decide, but yeah, someplace where we could sort of, whoever's able to make it for the meeting and have a Zoom connection there, it might be a neat way to allow us to go back to the old days before when we all met in person. And of course, I wouldn't want to say that that's now a requirement, because obviously not everyone can get to a location, but it might be we were all joined together earlier in the month for our Visions, and yeah, I don't know what others think of it.
I think that would be an interesting idea, because there's several commissioners that I haven't met in person yet. And I would find that interesting to meet a few of you guys. But actually that has me bring up a point that at least for committee meetings, at least for PIA, we do have that scheduled during the summer. That could change. It could be rescheduled or something, because we have summer things going on. So let's say I might put out I can't do it this Thursday, but I can do it next Thursday. We'll see. But or you might not be able to join because the summer's the summer. But we do have 2 scheduled PIA meetings in case anybody brings us business, and we can work on any of that business going into September. So if we, anybody's got concerns that need to be addressed in September, we can. We do have 2 scheduled convening meetings during the summer. Do we have those, Kennedy? Yo, Kennedy.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured we had one scheduled for July and August, because we usually do that, but I didn't have my calendar open.
I would have to double check and see. I don't believe we do, but I can double check and send out an email.
Okay, and I'll look too. But if we don't, we always can get together, and I could probably get a hold of. I could get a hold of you during the summer in case we needed one. I would imagine. Could I not?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so we can potentially have a couple meetings this summer if we feel they're needed, so we can get in by fall. Any other new business?
None that I'm aware of, Larry.
All right. Well, it's just, yeah, new business means that anybody's got a chance to also put up something if they have anything.
Patience.
Yep, communications and announcements.
Does anyone have any communication or announcements for the commission today? Seeing none, we move to the adjournment.
Okay. I would propose that we, I would ask somebody to make a motion to adjourn.
This
I
is
make a
Kathleen.
motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right, Rob. I guess we'll just one of us will be first and one of us will be second.
Oh, I was gonna say you could. Well, I'm familiar with procedure, maybe a little more than some, and I usually the chairs in general don't always ask for it, but I know I guess you can. But I always figured you got to throw it on the floor and leave it to somebody else to motion it. So I guess I can do it then. I move that we adjourn this meeting. Any seconds?
This is Kathleen. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Seeing that, I'm assuming that that's a majority because it sounds like just about everybody. I will see some of you during the summer, I'm sure.
Recording stopped.
And if there's any